So, Manav will just join us in a couple of minutes. Meanwhile, guys, like I was saying, this is so exciting right now because we have these guests who come and be part of our chat show, and it's amazing, the kind of stuff that they share. Mana today going to talk about why it's necessary to be expressive in these times and why there is no difference between good expression, like feeling good, feeling bad, negative expression, positive expressions, and how she does it, in her life. Also, she does something really exciting, which is called as a state of flow or a flow game, and she's going to talk about that as well. So I'm really excited to listen to her. What she has to talk about. And before that, how many of you attended our music doodling workshop today? Just give me a show of hands. And also, because that slot was already over, so I couldn't talk to you much. How was your experience? I think it was almost 1 hour long workshop, but we did only 2 exercises, which was a little deeper down exercise because I wanted you to experience it, calmly, enjoy the music and do it. So I'll take a couple of questions here from Sesta. How many days are completed in self-exploration? Well, we started 2 weeks back. The first week was about, the art of 7 days of being creative. And we sort of connected creativity with mindfulness. And now this one has almost taken us 7 days, and now these are the next 3 days. So we are, I think, on towards the verge of it. Sunday will be the last day. We'll give you the competition, the final exercise for self-exploration. And we love to see what you guys do there. So Mana is back with us.
Hi. Yeah, I found them. Is it better now?
It's much better. Now we can... Yes, I can hear you much clearer and I can feel your voice. Now it's sounding like you, yes. So Mana, do you want to start with yourself and where you are, what you're doing right now?
So you're saying give an introduction about myself? That's a long story. But okay, I mean, where do I begin? Flow game? Mainly flow game?
Yeah, up to you. So you can either start from where you started in your life, or you can start from where you are right now and how you reached here. We want to know you more because I know you.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know me. So a couple of months ago, actually a couple of years ago now. Wow, it's been a year and a half now. That's crazy. I discovered Life Plugin, and at the time I was working for an NGO in Bombay. So I've always had a sort of passion to serve. I've always had a passion to kind of contribute, and that kind of stemmed from my lack of excitement with school. So I think from an early on, so I'll go back to when I was in school. I feel like I had a really tough time getting along with the teachers and getting along with the system that was in place, and I just wanted to change this. I felt like I needed to change this, and so along the times I got out, graduated, and then I was like, I really want to do something differently. I don't want to go into the same situation again, mainstream, arts, science and stuff like that. That none of that spoke to me. And so I discovered this thing called Uncollege, which is this alternative education college, which basically does life skills, and they help you if you have a goal, if you have a dream, then they help you kind of expand on that. And it's a 6 month to 9 month course, and it was really, really cool for me to do that because that sort of took me out of my comfort zone when I was really young. I mean, I was only 20, 21, and I left. For the first time, I was living alone in Indonesia. I was volunteering. I was, teaching English to kids, and I was literally helping direct this NGO in Indonesia, and I didn't even speak the language there. So it was such a crazy out of my comfort zone experience that really propelled my growth. And so when I got back in 2017, 2018, I was like, I need to do something different. I want to give back to the community, and I wanted to get into education, mainly education. So I don't know if you've heard of Teach for India Fellowship. that was that was one thing that I really wanted to join, and so I applied to that and stuff like that. Of course, there was a relocation involved, and I didn't want to leave Bombay, so I wanted to definitely do something in Bombay, and I looked around and stuff like that. So to beginning of 2017 2018 2017, I got a job at Connect Four, and I was helping them with the operations there. So that was the 2 years in the social sector, which was it was the best time of my life, because I got to see so many different ways of contributing to the world, to humanity, to the planet. We were doing everything from social work to working with companies, and I got like a great exposure there. So that was when I realized that, the amount of NGOs that there are, that's the amount of problems there are in the world, pretty much. And the more the problems there are, the more NGOs there are. So it was kind of like I had reached a point where I was saturated also for me, because I was trying to take on so much of the world on my shoulders, like whether it's animal rights or human or like women's rights, or if it's like environmental conservation. So there's so much, if you think about it. And so as a tiny person, from Bombay, I was like, this is too much for me. So it was like late 2018, and I was like with a friend, and we were just having a couple of drinks, and he was like, why don't you just try to come to Life Plugin, do something for yourself, get away, take those 3 days. And I don't think that you were there for that one. I think we met the year after that, but I went for the one the year before, and that was my first time. Honestly, that was the first time that I'd done anything like that for myself. And
so I'm just telling people. So guys who are here and who doesn't know about Life Plugin, it's basically a conference on personal transformation. It happens in Shimla, Goa, and probably again it will happen in Shimla again. It got postponed because of COVID-19. It was supposed to happen in Shimla, but you should check it out. It's actually really nice if you are into personal transformation. Okay.
And that's the thing, Rohit, I had never even known what personal transformation was at that time. I didn't even know what it was about, why it was needed for me. And it was so amazing that when you go into something like that, without even knowing, you get so much more out of it. Because I think when we go into places and spaces, we go with that expectation that ye mil jayega, and then we expect that ye ho jayega. But I went with no expectation, and I met the most wonderful people, and I experienced the most wonderful breakthroughs over there. Truly breakthroughs, like with myself, and I think at that point I was also coming out of a 8-year-old relationship. So it was a very necessary turning point in my life, because it was not only a career switch at that point, but it was also a sort of a life switch for me, I could say, transformation wise. So when I left Life Plugin, the first time I had gone, I had played this game, Flow Game, over there. And where I played this game, and I didn't think anything of it. I just thought that this game is really helpful for people who have an interest in diving deeper into their personal growth and personal transformation. And maybe I'm not suitable, maybe I'm not that type of person, because this is the first time that I'm coming to see anything like this. And at that table, when you come into Flow Game, you come with an intention or a question. And so I had come in with what is my career, what do I do with my life, kind of. And it was so funny, because the game itself was the answer. It was in such a way, it was saying something like, what are you doing right now, or how do you stay present, or what is in your present moment, something along those lines that really stuck with me. And anyway, life went on. Of course, I left Life Plugin, I quit my job, I went through my breakup. Of course, I had so much courage now, because I had come out of this personal transformation, and I felt so much stronger with really, also what I got from Life Plugin was the connections that I had made, the kind of people that were there, that look out for me, that checked in on me, and they really just was very supportive, and so I was just so happy, and it just hit me at that point. It was May 2018, somewhere around May 2018, and I had just literally I had just transformed every aspect of my life, and I was almost at that stage where I was lost. Like some people could they would experience that as like being lost. Like क्योंकि आगे क्या करे? Like what do I do? ना job नहीं है, ना कुछ नहीं है. I've left everything behind, like clean slate. And so I just decided to become a flow host, and I sort of jumped into the like deep end with that. I really took a chance. Like I was like, this is something that I think would helped me a lot at Life Plugin itself. And and I got in touch with the people, and luckily a lot of the people that I had met at Life Plugin were also very excited to do this training, and we got the training and I got initiated as a flow host, and ever since then I've just been in the flow, I could say. I mean, there's no way else to put it. Like once you invite something like that into your life, it really opens up so many more energetical doors, that I think a lot of what I got out of this experience is that life is energy. Like a lot of our life has a lot of energy, has a lot to play with how we live our lives, how we do our day to day, how it's in our breath, I feel.
Yeah.
So prana, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah. I hope that answers your question. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. I can just ramble on about these things,
No, it's nice. I'm so glad that you explained it so nicely, because it's just everyone was like into it, and you're like, okay, we're just following the story. Right? So
nice.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, of course, the amazing stuff you're talking about, we also have some really nice questions, which, starting with the basics of it, is what is a flow game? You have been talking about in your introduction.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about that and let people know. And I know it's really deep. So why do we play it like a game and not like something else? So I have very stupid questions for that. So if you start off with that, I'll open up more. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, it's actually, this 1 year has been such a test to just even getting people to understand what it is. A lot of the times where I've gone to like networking events, and just because as somebody who works in an office or somebody who's doing like a normal 9-to-5 job, it's very different to explain what you're doing if you're working for a company or something like that. And I think that was one of the reasons why Happy to Heal was also born into this, because I realized that I had a lot more to offer than just flow game. As I do identify as a flow host, I do feel that Happy to Heal can be an umbrella for many other things that I want to sort of grow with flow game, along with flow game. And so essentially it is a process designed as a board game. It was designed in Denmark by a group of people that wanted to create spaces for people that can share their stories, can share their wisdom and also just have fun. Because sometimes I think a lot of the way we look at these deep spaces or coming and sharing our feelings and all of that, there's so much of society has kind of taken that away, and we don't really have, at least I didn't really have a lot of spaces like that before I had discovered flow game, where I could just talk about what am I dealing with? What are struggles? Sometimes we don't really know, we need clarity on something in terms of career, in terms of relationships, in terms of family also. Sometimes it's hard to get along with people that we live with, and we get so confused. How do we navigate this? And so sometimes with flow game, it's really helpful to gain that kind of clarity, Of course, I can explain it, I can explain the game in a very basic manner, that it invites powerful questions and enhances inner leadership through collective wisdom. But I think the essence of the game is that it allows people to connect. It allows people to come together in a safe space and connect with each other and resonate with each other, which is the most important part, to realize that we're not alone actually. We are all in this together. We are all dealing with this together. And one of the things that I really love about this pandemic, I know some people will say that, oh, how can you love anything about a pandemic? But I really love how people have really shown up for these sessions online. I know it's tough. I know it's tough for me also as a host to host on this kind of a platform, but I feel it's something that is so much more relevant now, because people just really need to talk about how they're going through whatever they're going through, and together we can push through it, as a family, as one. So yeah.
So
Any more questions about Flow Game? Why you
Yeah.
mentioned why is it played as a game, right?
Yes.
So, like, I want to shed some light on that, because I feel that it's important to have fun, even sometimes with our anxiety, even sometimes with our fears, even sometimes with our struggles and our challenges. It can become so serious in our head, and it can become, even for me, like when I was before Flow Game, before Life Plugin, there was so much about life that I thought that, oh my God, how am I going to get through this, and we almost think that we cannot go through something, and or we feel that this is the end of it. But I think also this pandemic has shown like that there's nothing really that serious out there. We can just play, we can just have fun, and we can make the most of every situation, every circumstance we're in. And yeah, so I think that's the importance of play. I think when it comes to Flow Game, just to come into a safe space, but also just to come with your inner child and let that run free. So yeah.
I think what I like about it, because it's a game, so I'm not so fearful of going into it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and because it's like you don't have to like start from somewhere. You're told what to do, so it's easy to get in. And once you are in the flow, then you just open up and you start going with your ideas.
Absolutely.
So, how many people are required to play this game, Mana?
So, anywhere between 4 to 6 people would be able to go into like really good depth. And when I'm doing it now, it's crazy that I get to talk about the two ways that I'm doing it, like online and physically. Physically, I can do it with 4 to 6 people easily, and it would take a good half day to really have a good experience. But online, I'm finding it even more exciting to play with more people. So like 8 to 10 people can also join, because some people, they just want to be a part of that and not necessarily present a question or come with an intention. They just want to hang around, collectively, gain something out of the collective wisdom, and that's also fine. Physically, I feel the limitation is there because it's an energy thing also. If you're in the room, if you're present in the room, then you participate. But online, if you want to just come and keep yourself on mute and just hang out, that's also fine. So yeah, it's really
I think
exciting.
It's nice because you can connect with people who are not there in your vicinity, but you can still connect with them online, and I think there's so much fun in that as well. So,
oh my God, yeah.
Coming on to the next session, like the next part of it, life is all about asking powerful questions. I always believe in that that's what makes up life, is when you start asking these questions, which are really powerful, and seeking answers for them. So we have a question like that. And the question is, how do we deal with fear? And that's a powerful question, and I think you would be able to answer it, I'm sure. So you are taken out. There's a follow-up question which says, and anxiety.
Of course. So, see, I wouldn't say that I'm any pioneer to know the right answer to these questions. Honestly, I refrain from saying that there's only one way when I'm feeling anxiety, and especially now during lockdown, there was so much uncertainty. Experiences that I had for Happy to Heal, I had already got some gigs to play Flow Game for many people in many different spaces that I was really looking forward to going to. And when that didn't happen, it was like I crashed, like I fell, from 8 feet. I was like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna not only continue doing what I love to do, but what I love to do is what keeps me grounded and what keeps me going. So if I take that away, how am I gonna continue? So a lot of what I realized is that for myself, if there's something that I'm associating my happiness to, if I'm associating something my energy to, then if that thing is not happening, then it's very easy for me to steer. So if I'm like, if for example going out and meeting my friends or going out and playing a flow game physically, like all of these things I associated myself with that. And so when those things were not able to happen, I was, of course I was afraid, and of course I was anxious. But then I realized that okay, there are other ways to go about this, and if there's really that need within, then that effort comes easily. But also on an energetical level, I've realized to give myself that space and that time. On an energetical level, check in with myself. If I'm not feeling it in a day, then why push myself? Why force myself? Just because on Instagram everyone is working out and getting healthy and eating a salad and cooking and all that. Like sometimes social media can also be a really toxic space in times like this, when you see everyone else and then you start to compare yourself, and you just realize that no, this is not the wisest way to go about anything in life. Subah uthe ke Instagram, it's not, yeah. So I'm not saying that I don't do that. Of course I do, but I'm saying that there are ways that we can avoid that, and there are ways, and we should avoid that actually. And especially on mornings, or especially on a sleepless night. Like if you've had a sleepless night and you're in your head and you're constantly having racing thoughts, then you just don't do Instagram for that day, or you don't do social media for that day, and you start to write, or maybe spend time with your loved ones or somebody that you're close to. Sometimes we even just need to speak about it, just talk it out. Call me, join a flow game. There's so many things you can do.
Nice. So how we deal with it is by doodling. So we
there you go.
keep doodling, and that's also a way of just expressing yourself. Just putting it out on paper, because paper doesn't speak back, right? It absorbs.
Absolutely.
So anything that absorbs is a really good medium for you to just put your heart out. Be it a person, be it a medium like paper, or maybe something else like music, which just absorbs you in, or absorbs you everything that you say. Now, paper is paper, right? It absorbs anything that you put on it. But we, being us, are really afraid to express ourselves sometimes. I have so many negative emotions in me, but I'm so afraid to just put it out on, let's say, paper, or talk to someone else. So do you want to talk about like why expression is so important, and why we should not differentiate between negative and positive emotion? Because sometimes you're really happy when we get positive emotions, but negative, we just sort of don't look at it, trying to avoid the big elephant that's inside us, inside the room. So how should we do that and have that balance? So we'd love to hear your views on that.
Absolutely. I think to add to the list that you made, was music is also a huge anchor for me during this time. Not only because sometimes you have a mood and you feel like listening to a certain song, and you feel like, and instantly you can just change your whole your whole mood just changes if you put on a song and you start to just dance it off, shake it off. Movement is something that I feel is so important, especially because, some days can just be monotonous. You can just put on Netflix and you can spend the whole day and you can just go into it, and you really don't even realize that you probably haven't moved enough, your body. And especially for people that like to work out or like to be active, that can be really toxic. Like that can be really suffocating to not have that activity. So I think one of the things that really helps me sort of just like change my mood, just like get out of whatever I'm feeling, and negative or positive. I mean, like I said, it really depends day to day. I think every day there's a new sunrise, and it brings so much possibility with itself, right? So some days we'll receive that as sunshine, and sometimes we'll receive it as way too bright and not for us. And that's okay. Like that, sometimes even the flowers do that, so it's okay. I mean, we just have to always be mindful that we're checking in. How am I feeling today? I think that's one of the main things that we need to do. And I like personally have started to just write it down, whatever it may be, whether good or bad, just write it down, and don't necessarily put a pin on it that like, if I didn't sleep well last night, then that necessarily means that I'm having a bad day today. No, it just means that I'm less energetically. So energy wise, I'm a little bit low. So, okay, I'm just going to do something that's not consuming me so energetically, So, it's like that. I think I don't really look at it positive or negatively. I just look at it day to day. And, there's so many positive quotes, right, on Instagram. Like, take it one day at a time. Just give yourself one day at a time. We're in it together, and we're literally looking at this one day at a time, pretty much all of us. So if on one day you see on Instagram somebody's done something good for themselves, or they feel proud of themselves, it doesn't mean that you're not doing something enough for yourself. It just means that that's their day. And in fact, we should celebrate that for everyone. We should start celebrating each other instead of putting ourselves down and feeling like we are not doing enough because we spend the whole day on Netflix. It can cause guilt, but it's okay. It's not a big deal because,
So, there's a quotation that going on that, if you don't achieve this, if you don't have a side hustle, if you're not thinking about the next thing right now, you're missing out the time and the energy to regret it. And then there's a counter post is saying, even if you don't do this and just stay happy, that's okay. It's
Absolutely.
okay just to be happy and just, being yourself right now, being authentic right now. And you don't have to validate anyone or yourself by, achieving something or finding the cure for cancer. You can be just happy in your mind, and that can be enough for you as well. So, Mana, while you're talking, there's so many comments that are coming in. So, you want to just go through some of them and just try to answer, or probably just, just comment back on any of them.
You want me to check? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because there are some at the top. So if you are going to pick any of the question you want to answer, or maybe just comment that you probably can, even you relate to it, or you can just provide more information on that, or your knowledge.
Yeah, I just see everybody saying, can we have a demo? Can we have a demo of the game right now? It's so sweet.
Go ahead.
This is beautiful. I'm appreciating all the love, honestly. I can show the game. Yeah, sure. I don't really think a demo is.
Yeah. So like Mana mentioned, the game takes actually half a day. Maybe it sometimes can take 1 day to play the game because it's like steps, and every step takes you deeper and deeper into the question of the answer that you're seeking. So
exactly.
It becomes really deep sometimes. So it takes that amount of time, collective conscious and knowledge to come up with answers for that. And
exactly.
I was lucky to just have experienced the card game with Mana in Delhi last month, I guess. And in 1 hour, I think 1 hour we went from here to here. The way we were expressing ourselves, the energy inside the restaurant, the energy inside the restaurant.
Absolutely.
So and that was a very small card game. That was not the flow game. So flow game is another level for that, right?
Exactly. So there are cards, and then you get these, there are these directions on the game. Are we able to see this? I'm just going to try, this is the first time I've done this. But basically there are cards that go here, and then essentially dice for people. And then I pick up a card for them. A powerful question, which is the main thing. It could also be a picture. It could also be a gesture that you can perform in the circle. So it could be anything. It's an opportunity. It's an invitation for you to be open, for you to come into that space honestly and authentically. And it's really beautiful because these aspects within us. So it's basically there are 6 different aspects, which is 4 of them, which is important, which is north, south, east, and west. So north is for our inner leadership, which is how are we leading ourselves, our day-to-day lives, how are we forming new paths in our lives to propel our growth, to meet our highest selves. Are we pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone? So all of the questions that come, or all of the kind of perspectives that come from that will be through that lens, the inner leadership lens, which is the north aspect. Then the south aspect is the community, your close closest friends, your most intimate relationships, to your outer circle, to then your community, then your the society at large. So how are we showing up? What are we giving? What are we asking? What are we receiving? What are we enhancing in these kinds of really important to dive into that. And a lot of the times when we play this game and South cards show out of the connection in the group enhances, just because it is so much about connection in and of itself, as human to human connection. So that's South. Then East is the vision of eagle. So it's like an eagle's vision. And what eagles do is they sort of prey the land before they sort of scout the land before they attack their prey. And why they do that is because they want to get a good understanding of how we can go about. So it's more like goal setting, setting our intentions. A lot of the times we want to be rest assured कि जो भी होएगा future में सब ठीक हो जाएगा. And we want to ourselves take control of that. And we should take control of that. It's whether it's a job or a relationship or something like that.
Yeah. So I think, guys, if you want to know more about it, because I'm seeing some comments here that people want to write.
Sure.
If you want to know more about it, you can check out the website. It's called happytoheal.com, right, Mana?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Check out the website.
It's called happytoheal.in. You want me to just type it here?
Yeah, if you can, I think it'll be really nice for everyone to go and check it out once the live is over, because I think everyone is very curious in that. Okay.
Absolutely. I just have to so go ahead.
Going through the comments, and guys, thank you so much for the amazing comments you have for Mana. A couple of people asking about doodling. So for doodling, we do a lot of sessions, guys. You can join us there. This session I specifically want to talk about something that Mana sort of, we invited Mana for. So Mana, there is an ongoing challenge that's going on right now. It's called Self-Exploration Journey. And, in that, we give everyone questions or challenges every day, which help them self-explore themselves. So yesterday, we asked them to put all of your fear on paper. Just don't be judgmental, just write it down, doodle it. Just put it on paper. And then today, we asked them to take all that fear and then convert it into a journey of from fear to hopes, or from fear to goals. Like visualize that journey. So visualize your fears, visualize your hopes, and then make a visual journey of that. How are you doing that? Using your strengths, using your whatever abilities that you have. So that's where they are right now. So I would love to know, you being here, how do you express yourself? What are the ways you express yourself? How do you bring that change from negative to positive in your life? How do you practice positivity and everything else?
Wow, that's so cool, powerful, and amazing. And I'm sure everybody that's done this challenge has probably got so much out of it for themselves, because I think something that we really don't want to do is reflect on our fears. Like, we just don't want to look at that, right? We try to say, no, I just want to stay hopeful and everything will be fine and pandemic will end and we'll get our freedom back and stuff like that. But I think the way I'm experiencing it right now, because right now is the only thing that really matters, is just how do I put this? Like, I think for me it's about staying in the moment, being present, but also starting to identify what all can I do to kind of identify what is fear and what is hope. Like, where am I going into? So for example, like I wanted to show you this that I did the other day, and it was because like I don't doodle like often, but I just made this because I was like, in my mind, I think I was experiencing a little bit of anxiety and fear, and so I just put it down on paper. Can I show you? And I just
love to see it.
Yeah, and I just was like, picking up phrases and words and stuff.
Wow.
So and I wanted to share this with you, not only because I feel like after I took your doodling workshop in Delhi, I just started expressing even in my journal so differently. And I was like, this is so cool. This is such a cool way to kind of put my thoughts down. And that day when I did this, like, it took me like 2 days to make that, but I was like, I need to figure out what is this that's stopping me from feeling like I can't do this. Like, there were a lot of times where I was like, oh my god, I'm scared of making a mistake, and so I wanted to start with a pencil, and then I wanted to erase it. Have the ability to erase. But in life, we don't have the ability to erase. We have to just go about life and hope that we make the right choices and we do the right things. And, right or wrong, it doesn't matter, because you'll still learn from it. Even if you don't get to erase it, you will still learn from it. And so I think for me, just trying new things, different things. I also do this thing where I make flow bands. It's on my website as well. So I basically have this thread, like it's a string type of thing. I just got like two to like show you. Can you see? So
Wow.
it's
So
like,
that's like a band?
yeah, it's basically called macrame, and I got this string way back in like 2015, and I just have had it like ever since. And I thought, what better way? Like, I don't make a lot of time for it during like normal like pre-corona days, but now, I mean, why not? Do something creative every single day, whether you're feeling hope or whether you're feeling fear. It's okay. It's both of those things can help us express ourselves, and I think it's so important to get it out there. Even the fear can help you on days you're feeling too hopeful. I feel, some days I'm like, oh, everything will be fine and nothing is and then I need to rein myself back and be like, no, listen, like, find that balance, and don't get too carried away, because it's always good to have that balance and just find whatever is best for you to kind of express that. I hope that answers your question. I mean, I would want to experience this fear to hope doodling myself, and then probably more things will come out.
I'm so glad that you answered it by showing us the doodle, because that's what challenge is going on right now. So we are supposed to do that, and we have done this exercise in the workshop. So it's been so nice.
Exactly.
That, if you can see people doing it now virtually, and they put it on their story, they send us the DM, and it's just absolutely wonderful to see what they are creating. It's very inspiring to see that. So this is like the last segment. It's called the Q&A round, because we let people ask you a question, and if they just sort of go to hear you. I know a lot about you, like you are like, are you like a vegetarian or like a vegan? What kind of
vegetarian? Oh, that's a very important, that's a very interesting question, because so pre-corona days, I would love to go out and discover all different kinds of restaurants in Bombay. Like, that was one of my favorite things to do in over like a weekend, and just take my friends, go to like vegan restaurants, and there are like 150 vegan restaurants in Bombay itself, and I've probably only been to like 30 of them. So I'm like, I still have such a long list, and I still want to get out there and go, but now we're in lockdown, and I'm like having to eat all the home food, which is like kind of sad, but at the same time I'm very grateful, and I'm always like grateful that even growing up in a Punjabi family and having all these pressures of like changing my diet, like, and just simply talking about veganism and how people receive that, when they've never heard anything like it, and no ghee and no honey, and it's like, are you crazy? Like, you can't have a household without that. And it's like, all of these things, it's like difference of opinion. And I just got to a point where I would rather not fight every time or argue every time we're getting to a meal. That's such a disheartening energy we're putting in the food, and I don't want that. So I was like, I will find my balance here. There are things that I will accept. If there's a little bit ghee in my food, I cannot do anything. I mean, I cannot physically do anything about that, but I will just choose to refrain from like milk or cheese or stuff like that, just so that along the journey of my life, if veganism is something that I am destined for, or I mean, it's something that's on this journey for me, then I think I'll be better prepared if I make the small changes today to get there. It's not like I can just cold turkey cut it out,
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone should do that.
Yeah, and I think why I asked this question is we asked this question from Parth when he joined us in one of our live creativity session, and it was really nice the way he explained why it's really important to come out your comfort zone. And that's why when we invite people with us, I ask them this question because all of you guys have somehow have broken that comfort zone and can come out of it and been practicing something which is really inspiring. So that I always wanted people to listen to, and probably we can also get inspired and break that comfort zone, because I think that's the first step of becoming a better person, learning anything, and probably coming out of your own self in a way that coming out of your negative thoughts. It's just be uncomfortable for some time, and because you probably have a purpose for that, and then you start to get better with it, and then you are really good, you feel good about yourself when you see the change. So
100%.
that was that question. I wanted people to hear your journey on that.
That's the best
We'll take the questions from the audience. Mana, if you're not speaking, you will have some water, okay? And then
Sure. Is there a question already that you have in mind, or you want me to?
Yes. So there's one question that I can see on the screen from Aarti, and she's saying, since when did you start doodling, and how does that connect with the flow? Wow, that's an interesting question. You want to take it up, Mana?
Yeah. I'll be honest, and I told you also, Rohit, that I think I've doodled ever since I was a child. Like ever since I took a pen in my hand, I think before writing ABC, I probably drew a smiley face or something, and I think it's because innately, I think we're all artists, it's just when we grow up and things happen in our lives, and then, we have to kind of go away from that, or life just takes us further away from that inner child. But I think that it's always like something that is innate in our ability to do. Similarly to flow. And the reason I say that was because mandala artist, and he was doing this mandala art at this event, and it was so profound, right? But when I spoke to him about how he's doing this, is dot mandala art, and it's so intricate because you really have to just go one dot at a time, and then when you see it in a bigger picture, you see the whole experience, like you see the whole artwork has become something. But when you're in that moment, you're going one dot at a time, and I think that's so profound, and that's so amazing to me to see, because whether somebody is doing art, or whether there's somebody is doing dance, or whether somebody is doing any kind of different forms of expression, they are going into a state of flow. And that's why it's so important for each one of us, if we feel that we have this ability to let ourselves surrender to this thing called life, or higher power, or however you want to say that, this this ability to just let go and come into that moment, and come into your body, and come into your mind, and just connect all of that to the present moment. Even when you're doing breath work, which is so cool, you get into these high energy states, and it's so incredible. When I was at Life Plugin, was the first time that I had ever done something like breath work before, and in that session, that moment, I just started crying. Like I literally just started letting myself go, and that is also, I feel, a form of expression. It's like when you can just let yourself go down to that extent, and the fact that we don't really express ourselves that much. If when I go out and I go with my friends, I find myself quite expressive, but at the same time I'm holding myself back, because I'm like, not everybody is going to receive this the way I'm presenting it, just going out and maybe bursting out into tears or in a public place. I mean, stuff like that. I don't know, it's not acceptable, but it's the way we should be allowed to express ourselves, and it should be open, we should just be open wherever you are, and be free wherever you are. I know it's we live in this, pandemic and we can't go out right now. But like post pandemic days, I think we should just all go out and just be dancing and celebrating our lives to the fullest extent, the way we can, and just get into flow, because that's what life is now. I mean, I think everyone is just going with the flow now, taking it one day at a time.
Yeah.
You know?
The lockdown is making you happier and happier, Mana.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Why not?
And there's someone
Why
saying
not?
that it also happens when they do chanting nowadays, and they do reflection and these exercises. So I think all of them, like I said, it's part of self-exploration, guys. All the things that, like Mana said, is being in the state of flow, just going with yourself, just like you said, just living it fully, just that everything that comes once you are in connection with your own self.
So how is it
question
for you? Yeah.
How please highlight the importance of men being stereotyped, not being expressed? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I would let you take that, because I would want to know from your own work, like, do you feel the need to make your less more positive and bright, and is it like, do you feel the need to kind of shy away from putting in the deep stuff or like the hard stuff?
Yeah. So I think when I started doodling, in my school, and I used to be very shy. I'm the youngest kid in my family. I have one elder brother, 2 sisters. My dad is like, he's a bank manager, who basically used to work. His main motto is in life is to work hard, stuff like that. So I sort of never had anyone to share my feelings with, right, when I was a kid. And that way I became like introvert and shy. So doodling became one of the way for me to just like an outlet for me to just put everything out there. Like if I put my sketchbooks from my childhood, they're full of emotional drawings. They're full of all the emotion that I used to feel, and that way that kept me sane. That kept me sane. That the notebook became my friend. And I started talking to the notebook with the help of tools and these art which I used to do. And as I grew up, it became like a journey. So then I also started expressing my happy moments on the sketchbooks, and then I started expressing my experiences, on the sketchbook, and then on canvases, and then on different mediums. And then like if I'm feeling really good about my chai, I'll do with a cup. I'm feeling good about my chai, I'll do it. So then it just became like an extension of myself.
Nice. Yeah.
So that's how it has been for me. So like I said, doodling is a language, or art is a language. Like how you speak, how you write, is the way you express yourself using doodling and art. And that's why I have to be authentic with it, because there is no, you can't lie in that. It's how it is. It's very pure, and that's why I like it.
Absolutely. I think, oh my God, thank you so much for saying that, because that's exactly what I think it is. It's just an extension of who we are. When we find our expression and when we find our space in this world and what makes us flow, it comes so naturally. And then it's not an effort to be, it's like when you're making an effort to be authentic is when you need to reflect on, is this expression right for you? Is it aligned with you? So, wow, yeah, I'm so glad that it comes naturally for you. And you're so good at it.
With men being stereotyped for not being able to express themselves. I think I was lucky in a way that I was always surrounded by this wonderful women in my life. So I had 2 elder sisters and very loving mother. So I always were in contact with them. I always saw them expressing themselves.
Yeah.
So I just became so comfortable expressing myself as well. Not like, maybe I don't talk about it, but I know I can draw it out, or I can probably talk to someone in my family. So that way, I think I never thought of that you have to have that stereotype of men not being able to express themselves. I've seen it in my friends, I've seen it in my family that men are supposed to hold up, and that's the way masculinity works. But now things are changing. I think everyone sort of has the same emotional state. Like if I abuse verbally, you feel the same thing, irrespective of your gender, right? So I think it's about looking at the same lens to everyone and making sure that everyone feels the same thing. And empathy is something that is really important to,
I think
in these times.
Can I also add to that? I think because I think it's so important and incredible that you mentioned this. And I think one thing that I have learned from my work is how we hold spaces for people. I feel like a lot of the times it's not only the gender bias that society has on men necessarily, but I think it's just also the fact that women need to be mindful and they need to hold spaces. And I think we cannot just say that just because he's a man and he's earning and he's providing and he's put in this way that he needs to be strong and also have these emotions associated to what his role it has been creative in society. So I think it's women's also responsibility, or just me as a human being. I mean, I really don't. Just me as a human being, I think I like to navigate it in such a way that just to hold the space for somebody, whether man or woman or anything, in my life, to just be themselves and be human. Because I think one of the biggest things we can all do is just realize that we're all human, first, before man, before women, before any of that, we're all the same.